Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. To all my subscribers, I appreciate you all. If you are new here, please like and subscribe to my channel. Today we are going to be making these beautiful shorts. It's very easy to make and very cute and comfortable to wear, so let's go. So the first thing we're going to be putting down on this pattern paper, which is our first measurement, is going to be our elastic casing. We need to put down our elastic casing first before we impute all of our vertical measurements, and this elastic casing is where our elastic is going to pass through or is going to sit, and I'm going to be using 1.5 inches for that. 1.5 inches for my elastic casing, and I'm just marking that across my pattern paper like so. Then I'm going to connect it with a straight ruler. Also, I am going to come down from that 1.5 inches by half an inch. That is going to make everything 2 inches altogether. You know why? Because we are going to fold over, and when we fold over like so, we are going to need that half an inch to sew it down. Okay, so I'm going to add 0.5 or half an inch to that 1.5 to make it 2 inches, and I'm just going to mark it across my pattern paper again, and I'll be connecting it like so with a straight line. All right, so now we have our elastic casing and we're good to go. So the next measurement that we're going to be taking is going to be our length measurement, and please pay close attention to where I'm placing my tape. So my tape is going to start from the 2 inches mark, as you can see on your screen right now, because our elastic casing is not going to be part of our complete measurement, okay? And I am using 18 inches for my length, 18 inches, and I'm just going to mark it across my paper like so. All right, I will take that again. Your elastic casing space is not part of your measurement, but it's just still going to be cut together, because when we fold over, we are still going to get our original length. All right, so now I'm just going to add my hemming allowance or my folding allowance, and I'm going to make use of 3 inches, which is perfect for me. You can decide how you want yours to be, if it's 2 inches or 1.5. Anyone is fine. So now I'm just going to label my lines. That's my hemline, that's my original length, and this is going to be my elastic casing. This is my elastic casing. This is where our elastic is going to pass through. Then the next measurement is going to be our crotch measurement. If you haven't seen my video on how to calculate for your crotch, please check my previous video on how to cut a palazzo pants. You will get the full details. So my original crotch depth is supposed to be, for a high waist, it's supposed to be 12 inches. But since this is a short, I want to make it free on the crotch area. I'm going to add 0.5 inches to it to make it 13 inches. This is just going to add ease. This is ease allowance. So original measurement is 12.5 for my high waist. I'm going to add 0.5 inch to it, which is half an inch for ease. So the next measurement we are going to be taking is going to be our hip line, and your hip line is typically 2.5 inches or 3 inches above your crotch line, but I make use of 2.5 inches, which sits perfectly on my body and on my client's body. So right now I just went up by 2.5 inches from my crotch line, and I'm just connecting it with a straight line like so. Now all of our vertical measurements are complete after this hip point, and we can start imputing all of our horizontal measurements. So now I'm just going to show you how it's going to be. You see this elastic point, right? We're going to fold it over like so. You see it's 2 inches. We're going to fold half inch first, then we'll fold over the remaining 1.5. That's how it's going to be. The next thing we're going to do is to impute our horizontal measurement, and we'll be starting with our hip measurement from our hip line or on our hip line. So I'm just making sure that my measurements are accurate, the length and otherwise. Okay, so my hip measurement is what we are going to be putting first. Please note that on this front pattern, I am not going to be adding any allowances to it. You can decide to add your own allowance. If you deem fit, it's still going to be perfect. So I divided my hip by 4, 42 divided by 4, I got 10.5, and I'm marking that on my elastic casing, on my waistline, on my crotch line and on my hip line, okay? And I'm going to be connecting that into a straight line like so from the top of the paper down to my crotch line. All right, so the next thing that I am going to be doing is to get my crotch extension. To get your crotch extension, you are going to be measuring everything you have on your crotch line. Just like that, you're going to be measuring everything you have on your crotch line like so, and you're going to be dividing it into four. You are going to see it now on your screen. You're going to take from this line to the end of your paper on your crotch line. You're going to measure everything you have, divide it into four, and whatever answer you get is what you're going to impute as your crotch extension. After getting your crotch extension, we need to get our crotch curve, okay? We need to get our crotch curve, so you're just going to rule a straight line from that intersection and go up by either 1.25 or 1.5 inches. I went up by 1.25 to make it sit pretty well, and I'm just going to use my free hand to make a simple curve like so, and our front is basically ready. Okay, we are not shaping the waistline because it's an elastic. The hip line is going to serve, the hip measurement is going to serve as the waist measurement also. Okay, so now measure whatever you have on your crotch and put that measurement on your hemline. Here is a moment of decision. You can decide to leave it straight like this, or you can decide to shape it in a little bit. Since it's a shorts, it's supposed to be free on the leg. There is no measurement like that. So, but just to give it a little bit of shape, I'm going to measure everything I have on my hemline. Okay, as you can see on your screen, I will divide it into two, just so that no side will be tilting to the other side. When I get that, I'm going to come in by half an inch on this side. Okay, I'm going to come in by half an inch, and I'm going to go in on the side by half an inch also. This is just to give it a little bit of shape. All right, just to make the pants have this trouser shape, or you can as well leave it straight. It doesn't really matter, and it's still going to come out very well. The next thing we'll be doing is to just connect the line on the side to meet your hip line. Okay, that half an inch on the side, just connect it straight to your hip line like so. It's very easy, and we are going to cut. We are going to be cutting this pattern out. It's very easy, it's very simple. You don't need too much measurement. You don't need to crack your brain. In less than a few minutes, we are done. So please take note of how I'm going to cut out this side. You are not cutting out your lines. You are cutting your elastic casing alongside your pattern. Everything goes together. Is that okay? So after we do this, we are going to go over to our back pattern. Okay, so just cut it out in your done, you're ready, and make sure you have another pattern paper ready because we're going to be placing this front block on another paper to get the back block. Look at the side I was telling you about, just shape it and you are good to go. So now this is the front piece. This is what we'll be doing so far. So for this elastic waist shorts, you are going to be folding over like this. I'm hammering on this so a lot of people can understand. You can see how it's going to be at the end. It's going to be a very beautiful elasticated waist shorts like so. So now we are going to cut the back pattern. So place the front pattern on another pattern paper like that, and make sure that the edge at the top is matching, that is, the edge is straight. Then the next thing we're going to be doing is to elongate our crotch line. Just extend it to the end of the other paper beneath it. That's for the back. We're going to do that for the crotch line. We're also going to extend the hip line also, and we're still going to extend the waistline also. This is going to help us give accuracy in our measurement, get accuracy, sorry, in our measurement like that. So guys, please pay attention here. It is not difficult. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it also. So now we want to get our round tie. This is where we get our round tie measurement, and it's going to be on your crotch line. Now you are going to measure what you have on your front crotch. I have 13.3. So that 13.3, I'm going to flip my tape. Please just pay attention. It's not difficult, guys. It is absolutely not. So I'm going to flip my tape and place the 13.3 on the beginning. Can you see where I placed the 13.3 to get my exact tie, my exact round tie? My round tie is 28 inches, and I am going to add 2 inches sewing allowance. Later on in the video, I explain this again. So calm down, just watch, you're going to get it. So now I'm going to do the same for the hips. But this time the hips, so I'm going to be dividing the hips into two. 42 divided by 2, we have 21. All right, so we need 21. Since the front and the back, we need 21 right now. So now I measure whatever I have on my hip line. I'm going to flip my tape again, start from the other side to get my exact 21. As you can see, I have my exact 21 for both front and back, which will make it 42. And I'm going to add my 2 inches allowance, and I'm just going to connect it like so using my free hand. Since the waist is what is going to serve, since the hip is what is going to serve as our waist, we really don't need to take the measurement since we know that we have our exact round hips. We're just going to add the 2 inches allowance we added for the hip and connect it into a straight line. I know it looks strange, it might look complicated, it is not. But the purpose of this is to make sure that all your measurements are accurate before you add your sewing allowances. I don't want us to add a random 2 inches or 3 inches just to make the back pattern bigger. Is that clear? So now for that allowance on the crotch line, you're going to come down by half an inch, then connect it like so. The purpose of doing this is to make the back crotch sit pretty well on your bum. It's going to give you that bum shape and a nice bum illusion. Okay, so now let me explain this again. You can see what I did of the tape flipping. The idea of the tape flipping is just to make sure that when you place the front on the back, your measurements are complete. So now pay attention again. You can see the entire front pattern, right? So take whatever you have there. I have 13.3. That 13.3, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to place that 13.3 from the other side. Are you seeing it? From the other end. And I'm going to flip my tape again. Just like that. I'm going to flip my tape again to get my exact 28 inches. Can you see my exact round tie before I added my allowance? So I'm sure my measurement is complete. So for my hip, I will do the same thing. But for my hip, I'm going to divide my hip by 2 since we have the front and the back. I'm going to divide my hip by 2, which is 10.5 for only the front. I flipped my tape again, placed the 10.5 on the other side, as you can see, to get my exact 21. The flipping is just going to continue the measurement from the other side before I added my 2 inches allowance. I am going to do the same for the waist, okay? You understand? That is how the idea of the tape flipping is. You just have to flip your tape to the other side to get what you want. If you need more clarity, go and watch my video on trouser making you understand. So for the hemline, we really don't need much. I'm just going to add 2 inches allowance to that hemline and connect it to the crotch. Okay, I just added 2 inches on the hemline you are seeing right now, then I connected it to the crotch. Our back pattern is ready. So now I'm just going to cut out. All I have to do is to cut out just like so. It's very easy. So let me touch on that tape flipping again. So when you flip your tape, you are sure that your measurement is complete. So the idea is when you are cutting your trousers, you place your front pattern. After drafting your front pattern, you place it on another fabric or on another paper to get your back, right? So now, typically they say just add 2 inches or 3 inches. No. So what you do is you place your front pattern or your front fabric, if you are using your fabric, on the back. So let me use my measurement. For your waist, you divide by 2. For your hips, you divide by 2. For your thigh and your knee, you don't divide, you use the exact. So let's say my waist is 32 inches. I will divide it by 2. I will have 16. So I need to get that 16. So when I measure, let me say I measure my front pattern or my front fabric, I have like 8. Then I'll flip the tape to get 16 before I add my sewing allowance. When I combine what I have for the front and the back, you will see that I have my accurate 32 after sewing with my extra allowance. That is what you do for your hips also, but for your thigh and your knee, you don't divide anything by 2, you use the exact. So this is the fabric that we're going to be using for this pattern. I just wanted to explain that for you guys to understand. So if you need more clarity, still watch my trousers video, you understand. So now I'm just going to go over to the sewing process. You can see that elastic line, that point. Please notch it on both sides, both for the front and the back. This is going to help you notice when you're folding. So now this is the front. I'm just going to sew the front crouch by half an inch. I'm just going to sew the front crouch by half an inch. That is going to be all for now for the front. Now I'm done sewing the front. Look at it. This is how it is. Look at the bottom. And we are going to be adding the back. Now I don't sew my back crouch immediately. That is where I take my final measurement from the back, so I don't sew it immediately. Now I'm going to place right side facing each other. I'm going to take one side of the back and place it on the front, and I'm going to join it at the side by half an inch. I'm going to do same for the other side. I'm going to place the other side of the back on the other side of the front. I'm going to join by half an inch. You can see that my crouch for the back is still open. Look at it. We're going to have one long piece. It has been joined on the sides. It has been joined on the sides just like so. So now I want you to bring your back crouch together like this. Bring it together like this and just spread it out. You can see what we did. Okay, look at it. Just bring it together like this and spread it out. Now we want to take our measurements. We want to take our final measurements. This is where I close the back crouch line. You know that we used our hip measurement for our waist, that since it's elastic, so it's our hip measurement we're going to be putting there. So I told you we need 21 for our hip, so that's the 21 I'm marking there. For my hip again, still the same 21, so I'm just going to measure from where I stitched for the front to the other side to make sure that I get 21 inches, and I'm just going to connect it. Then when I get that, I'm just going to sew round to the crotch. Okay, I'm just going to sew it round to the crotch. The purpose of this and that tape flipping is that your measurements are complete and you are going to get your desired allowance. There's no point that it's too big, it's too small. No, everything is going to be okay. So now this is it after joining the crouch at the back and after joining the side. So what you do now is to join the bottom. You're going to join the under like that, just sew it like so in a straight line. After that, you just fold your hem using your folding allowance that you created from the beginning, and we are good to go. This is the short. This is how we have gone so far. I have hemmed the bottom. This is how I've done so far. So now we want to focus on the waist. You can see I told you to notch that elastic line, that line, okay? Notch it. If you notch it, you see that it's on all 4 sides because it's going to help us when we are folding. It's going to help us when we are folding. So now what you do is, first of all, folding that half inch we talked about earlier when we were drafting, fold it and iron, okay? Fold it and iron it. Then after that, you fold in the other 1.5. Are you seeing it? Like that. Then just use your iron to iron it so it stays put. Then after you do that, you sew it round. You sew it round. Look at it. Look at what I've done. I just ironed mine to show you guys what I did. Look at the waist. It's still open. I've not stitched it down yet. I ironed it after folding. First of all, you fold in half inch, then you fold in the remaining 1.5, then you iron. So now I'm just going to sew it round at the edge. That's the tip. You know how to hem now. I'm just going to sew it. Then I'm going to leave 1 inch at the back. This is where I'm going to pass the elastic through. Okay, this is where I'm going to pass the elastic through. So I'm just going to sew it all the way around and leave 1 inch. Can you see? This is the 1 inch I left, and I'm going to pass my elastic through that part. And the elastic now is 1 inch wide. The elastic is 1 inch wide, and I'm going to use my pin, my office pin. I'm going to use my office pin to pass it. But now I want to get the measurement for our elastic, because we need our elastic to be able to pass our hip line. Okay, so now I'm going to take my hip and minus 16 inches for my hip measurement. My hip is 42. That's to get the amount of elastic you cut. My hip is 42. I'm going to minus 16. When I minus 16, I will have 26. So the length of my elastic is going to be 26 inches. Let me take it again. The length of your elastic you are going to cut that will accommodate your hips and also be enough to hold your waist is to get your round hips measurement minus 16 inches from it, and you are going to get a very good elastic that is going to hold your waist and is going to pass your hips. You can see when we stretched it, we got our exact hip. When you stretch now, you see that it will get to 42. That is, it can pass your hips and it will also grip your waistline. Now it's time to pass the elastic into the elastic casing through that 1 inch we left when we were stitching the fold. So you're just going to pass your elastic through that 1 inch. You can see, just pass it through the 1 inch like that and take it in like that. As you're putting it in, you just stretch, put it in, stretch it. Make sure your elastic is not folding, make sure it's not bending, because if it bends, by the time you are done, you will have a situation of twist of fate. Please, you don't want to have twist of fate. So make sure your elastic is straight. All right, make sure it's straight, and as you push it in, you pull to let it spread around. Let it spread, and as you can see, so I'm still doing it. This thing can be very tricky, so you just have to take your time. Take your time to do this. It's not difficult. It's absolutely not difficult. So take your time to do this. And when you're done, the elastic is going to come out from the other side. Can you see? It's going to come out from the other side like so. This is it. So just stretch it and make it okay. So when the elastic is out, you are just going to place it on top of each other like so. You're just going to place it on top of each other like so and stitch it down. Place it on top of each other. Place one end of the elastic on top of the other end and stitch it like so using 1/2 inch. Then you're just going to put it in, just feed it into the space, as you can see. Then when you are done, you sew that 1 inch opening down. Make sure you stretch your pants, that the elastic is well distributed. Okay, then you can see the opening we created so that the elastic can pass through. I will stitch it down. I'm done stitching it down right now, and our elastic shorts is ready. Our elastic shorts pants is ready. Our shorts is absolutely ready. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stitch the top now. Like, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch on the top and stitch on the elastic. This is going to hold the elastic down to avoid it from bending or squeezing later on. And guys, we are done. We are done. We are absolutely done. And if you listened or watched up to this point, you are my real G. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I hope all my explanations so far you understand. And if you don't, please do not hesitate to ask me a question in the comment section. I am very, very willing to explain it for you guys, especially that back. If you don't understand, for the beginners in our midst, I am very ready. I will explain it for you. It's very easy. It saves you the stress, especially if you are making for customers. No need for doubting if it's going to enter or it's not going to enter. All right. So guys, this is the final outcome. Don't I look cute? It's very easy, it's very comfortable. So, guys, please share this with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't. Like this video so you can get to as many that needs it. Your elastic waist shorts is ready. Thank you, guys. I love you.